evening. I'd like to welcome you to the August Lafayette City Council meeting. Please stand and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Sorry. All right. Madam Clerk, will you do the roll call, please?
Blinker.
Here.
Snyder.
Present.
Nargi. Here. Reynolds.
Here.
Weiss.
Present.
Brown.
Here.
Allersmeyer. Downing.
Present.
Williamson.
Here.
Quorum present.
Okay, we need a motion to do the public hearings.
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you.
Ordinance 2026-19. An ordinance for appropriation of a local option highway user tax funds, county wheel tax fund number 2490.
Are there any public comment, Mr. Mayor?
Oh, is this just the
It's just
public
the
hearing?
public hearing.
Yeah, the public hearing. There no comments now?
You got this part, I'll talk in a minute.
Okay. All right. Seeing no comment on that one, we have resolution 2026-15.
A resolution declaring the designation of certain real estate as an economic revitalization area and approving the application for a property tax abatement, tax span Concrete Solutions LLC Real Estate.
Any comment towards that resolution? All right. Seeing none, I just want to announce that the public hearing on the Wabash Township request for distribution from local income tax has been continued to August 17th at 4 p.m. here in the council chambers. All right. Yeah.
Will we reconvene?
Second.
Thank you. What's on it?
I know.
All right, we need to approve the minutes of our regular meeting on July 6th, 2026.
So moved. Second.
Thank you. Any additions or corrections to the minutes? All right. Seeing none? We need a roll call vote? No. Unanimous. All voting. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you. All right, presentation and disposal of claims.
There are none.
Presentation of petitions and communications.
There are none.
Reports of city offices on file in the city clerk's office.
Fleet maintenance monthly June, renew department monthly June, and waterworks department monthly June.
And just for your information, those are all in the clerk's office if you would like to read them, and they're also available online. And we do have one ordinance for second reading.
Ordinance 2026-19, an ordinance for an appropriation of the local option highway user tax funds, county wheel tax fund number 2490.
What's the pleasure of the council?
I move we hear ordinance 2026-19.
Like that.
Thank you. All right, now you're going to talk,
You
Mr.
ready for me
Mayor.
now?
Yeah, we're ready.
Madam President, ladies and gentlemen of the council, this is the ordinance that we bring every year for the two readings for the appropriation of the wheel tax. As you remember, when we passed that many years ago with the county and West Side, we said we'd bring those roads every year that funding was going to be used for in full transparency so people could see where that's going. I did want to stress, because I didn't stress that last meeting, that's actually not all the roads we're paving in this paving season. That's the pavement that we'll be using the wheel tax from. So kind of hope for a dry rest of the summer, but not too dry, and a very mild fall, because we've still got a lot of roads to pave. Those rains we got earlier in the summer got things a little bit behind. We got to do deep patching on a couple roads before we mill and pave those. So we've still got a pretty good part of our list to go. We've got a good part done, but we've got so hopefully the weather will cooperate to get as much done as possible before they close the asphalt plants this year. So we would appreciate your approval on this second and final reading.
Thank you. Are there any comments from the council? Any public comment toward this ordinance? All right, seeing none, we're ready for a vote.
Blinker.
Aye.
Snyder.
Aye.
Nargi.
Aye.
Reynolds.
Aye.
Weiss.
Aye.
Brown.
Aye.
Downing.
Aye.
Ordinance passes 7-0.
All right, thank you. We do have three ordinances for first reading. Or, go ahead.
Ordinance 2026-20, an ordinance to amend the zoning ordinance of Tippecanoe County, Indiana to rezone certain real estate from GB to PDMX Z-30-28 petitioner MRZ Property LLC Lafayette Mentors.
I move for consideration of ordinance 2026-20 on first and final reading.
Second.
Thank you.
Good evening, Kevin Riley with RTS Law, representing the petitioner. This property is located at the intersection of Creasy Lane and Fortune Drive. The planned development project will consist of 3 buildings. The first building is the existing launch house building at the northeast corner of Creasy and Fortune. There is a residential program with life skills component that's operated from that location for men ages 17 to 22. The second building, which will be built at the southeast corner of Creasy and Fortune, will be a similar building, similar program, only for women. And then the third building will be built north of Fortune Drive, and that's next to Star Furniture. And that building will initially be used for the first crew after-school program for boys ages, grades 5 through 8. The plan development as filed does provide for some flexibility of use in the event there was a change. So as long as one of the uses in the permitted use table there, and with the submission, that is authorized to go forward. We do think that the programs offered at these buildings are important for the community. We received a positive staff recommendation from Area Plan, and the Area Plan Board voted unanimously in approval at last month's meeting. Happy to answer any questions that you have, and we request your approval. Thank you.
Any questions or comments from the council?
Kevin, are these young people that are in jeopardy of becoming delinquent in some way? Is that what we're talking about?
Yes, yeah, generally.
And so they're on a path to becoming great citizens through this program?
I think the idea is to provide them with housing and life skills so they can kind of get their feet underneath them and kind of move on to the next stage of their life. But it's that kind of support, yes.
Okay. I thought that was important to bring up because, we do need that in this day and age.
Is there any public comment toward this ordinance? Seeing none, we're ready for a roll call vote.
Blinker.
Aye.
Snyder.
Aye.
Nargi.
Aye.
Reynolds.
Aye.
Weiss.
Aye.
Brown.
Aye.
Downing.
Aye.
Ordinance passes 7-0.
Thank you. Now we're ready for ordinance 2026.
The positive year that we've had with the adoption of the chicken ordinance. We did have a few discrepancies kind of in the beginning and in the just couple weeks leading up to the ordinance actually passing, where we were trying to give people a little bit of grace for the ordinance to either pass or fail, so people weren't either getting rid of chickens they were going to be able to keep and or wasting money, getting coops and prepping for it and all that. We had a couple, incidents with like a landlord versus a tenant issue. And so we had to just kind of sort that out and make everybody aware that certain things are civil and have to be, more specified in a lease per se. But overall, it's been a positive experience. When I would say the majority of the calls were, a little bit of maybe misinformation on both parties' side as of the chicken owners and the complaining parties. And so, once the ordinance was clearly explained to both, the chicken owners got in compliance usually fairly quickly. I would say most of the time it happened within about a week, when they have 30 days to correct issues and problems if it's ordinance related. And then as far as informing the complaining parties, which typically was neighbors or maybe landlords or other property owners, everybody kind of settled in and realized that they either need to kind of rewrite their leases possibly or just be a little more stringent on what they allow on their properties essentially. So, but overall, I would say it's been a positive experience really, and we haven't been inundated with chickens in town, so it really does seem like it was mostly people that legitimately just wanted a small flock in their backyard, and that's what they got. So, are there any questions or?
How many permits did you issue?
So on file right now, we have roughly 45 permits with the clerk's office.
Oh, wow.
And we usually get, 1 to 2 a week, I would say, it seems like. At the beginning, there was kind of an influx of permits that went out, maybe like 10 or 15 right off the bat. And then it slowed down through winter. And then when spring kicked back up, they just kind of slowly trickle in at that time. Yes, Perry?
Now, the people who have the permits,
have they continued to keep chickens? Because, I figured there might be some fall off. People find out exactly how much work this is.
Right, yeah, there have been some where, when we went over what was expected of them as, chicken owners, they decided to get rid of their chickens because they didn't want to, maybe do all the upkeep that was going to be required. So again, that's kind of one of those things where the problem per se kind of sorted out itself. And the people that weren't willing to be responsible or wanted to do that much work in caring for an animal decided not to do so, so, yeah.
So out of the 45 folks that have applied, how many calls does that drive to you a month, would you say, on average?
So in total, since the passing of the ordinance till I think last week it was, we've had about 20 chicken-related calls total. And several of those were, again, like neighbor disputes. And then, I don't know, maybe 5 to 7 of them were for loose chickens. Obviously, a hen will slip out, or if people did end up with a rooster, I would say some people did just turn them loose. But people do that with any kind of pet. So, it's not the chicken's fault per se, and their children, yes. So it really hasn't added a big burden to our call load at all.
Good. Thank you.
So we haven't found any chickens staggering home on Saturday night from the bars drunk?
No, not, knock on wood, Perry, if you brought that against me now, but yeah, no, so far it's been pretty easygoing, yeah.
Have you found that having the actual ordinance has helped you to enforce things better?
Yes, especially with the number of chickens that people have, because 5 chickens is a lot more manageable, obviously. There were some people that had 10, 15, 20 chickens, and so it was really easy to say, nope, like, dictates very clearly here in the ordinance, you're only allowed to have 5, and they all have to be hens. Now, obviously, when people go buy chickens at Rural King or Tractor Supply, you don't know what the sex of the chicken is you're getting. So occasionally people would end up with roosters, but they usually found places for them to go also. There are some companies you can buy sex chickens from, and some people that maybe took this a little more seriously or knew what they were doing ahead of time probably ordered from those companies so that they would only end up with hens and not have roosters.
Has this increased your workload quite a bit?
No, I really can't say that it has. We haven't, like I said, we had a few little bumps maybe in the beginning where it was just a lot of educating, but that's what my department is used to doing anyway, and we all enjoy that aspect of our jobs, so it really hasn't added to the call load and added to the stress of the job in any way, really.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
I noticed all the chickens were removed from the county fair this year because of possibly some kind of disease. Did that affect, did we have any people that were showing chickens that were maybe part of this, or it was none of their flocks was affected?
None that was brought to my attention, no. I mean, we don't, I can't say that we keep track of, who entered animals into the fair and who did not, but nothing's been brought to our attention with the backyard flocks being affected by any of the avian flus that have gone around, or any other kind of sickness, I guess, that may have been a reason for the fair not to have chickens.
Thank you.
Have you noticed any increase in predators showing up here in town?
No.
We got enough rabbits.
Yeah, rabbits probably help with that, and the squirrels.
Are there any other questions or comments from the council? All right, thank you very much.
You're
We
welcome.
Appreciate you.
Thank you.
ma'am.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Is there any comment from the audience? All right, seeing none, we're ready for a roll call vote.
Blinker,
Aye.
Snyder,
Aye.
Nargi,
Aye.
Reynolds,
Aye.
Weiss,
Aye.
Brown,
Aye.
Downing.
Aye.
Ordinance passes 7-0.
All right, thank you. Now we're ready for ordinance 2026-22.
An ordinance amending the chapter 11.03 of the Lafayette City Code to update regulations to alarm systems.
What's the pleasure of the council?
Move we hear ordinance 2026-22 on first reading.
Second.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Brian Alcar, Fire Chief. This is an amendment to the current ordinance for false alarms. Just some language addition. It did spell out fire alarm systems that previously was all lumped under alarm systems. Few little other language, but the big item is the fee structure. It does change it from the current ordinance is the first three are $25 a piece. The next three is $50 a piece. The next three is $100 a piece. That would change this to, the first one is free as a warning. The second one would be 50. The third one, 100. So basically the ordinance up to the second alarm, it's either the same or less if for an alarm system. It's after you get to 2 that the fee would increase. And a couple items this was brought to me, one for the process part of processing the fees. The fire department was separate from the PD, whereas we handled it internally. Our inspectors would actually go out and write the fines, and the clerk's office and the controller's office had to process those. We're going to go with what the PD does with the third-party system to help manage that collection, so we don't have manpower tied up with trying to collect those fees. So those were really the big ones. My biggest concern was fire alarm systems are life-saving and property-saving systems, and we don't want to deter businesses that are not required by code to install them. If you want to, you own a business and you want to install a fire alarm system, we encourage you to do that, and we don't want a system in place or an ordinance that's going to deter that. But we also want mindful that we don't want fire trucks running for false alarms all the time too. So I give kudos to the prevention division. They go out and manage these alarms to make sure that the alarms don't get out of control at the businesses. The other question I think I heard was, does this pertain to residential? It does not pertain to residential. So if you have a smoke alarm that's tied to a security system in your house for the fire department, you do not get billed for that. I know the PD, it might be different, but the fire department, this is all just commercial systems that, if we come to your business more than once, the once you get the warning, the twice is the $50, and we go from there. But
Chief, I got a quick question. How about related to hospitals and nursing homes where sometimes patients tend to pull the alarm, and are they going to be fined for that?
no, so actually our prevention division, they go through each one and they do an investigation to determine whether or not, if you have a fire alarm beeping in City Hall and somebody calls 911 because they hear what they think is a fire alarm, to us, that is not a false alarm. So no, that those systems would, it's actually the ones that are, if you have a dirty smoke detector in a building that's activated, and it just needs to be cleaned or replaced, those are the ones that we're going.
But you know as well as I do, we've been on many nursing homes and hospitals where patients have on their own decided to pull a fire alarm because they wanted out or whatever it was. But,
I think as the ordinance states, it's the property owner, if it's outside their control, then we can't necessarily issue them a fine for that.
Right.
So,
thank you.
yep.
Chief, I just want to make a quick comment. I know several years ago, the city of Lafayette implemented this for the police department, probably 8 to 10 years ago, plus or minus. I had a building in town which we had multiple false alarms. And I will say that receiving a bill in the mail, or even it's just $50, right? But getting that bill in the mail really required us to tighten things up and to quit relying on city resources so much. So I'm 100% in favor and support this. So.
Now, does this apply to nonprofits, buildings, or just business?
Businesses.
Businesses,
Yep.
so like my church, Central Presbyterian Church, or Lafayette Transitional Housing, any nonprofits, if their alarms
Yeah,
go off?
we would have to work with them. Yeah, and there's provisions in there that they can come to the fire chief or the police chief and they can give good reason why, we shouldn't be charged for that, so.
Okay.
yeah.
Since you've been doing this, how many runs have you cut since this was implemented?
As far as back
Yeah.
in '86, so I think we're.
No, I saw where you had, I didn't see it in the minutes. I saw where you had, since, what was it, 2022? And I was wondering how many runs have you cut since we started doing this?
I don't know that I could answer. Chief Bud, you have any idea statistic-wise on false alarms?
It would be, hi, my name's Todd Bud, I'm the Assistant Chief of Fire Prevention. It'd be very difficult to put a number on that depending on if we will get the alarm or not. So we either get it or we don't, and we don't know what we're not getting.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments from the council? Chief, any comments from the audience towards this ordinance? Seeing none, we're ready for a roll call vote.
Blinker.
Aye.
Snyder.
Aye.
Nargi.
Aye.
Reynolds.
Aye.
Weiss.
Aye.
Brown.
Aye.
Downing.
Aye.
Ordinance passes 7-0.
Thank you. We do have 4 resolutions this evening. Resolution 2026-16.
A resolution confirming the designation of certain real estate as an economic revitalization area and approval of application for property tax abatement, Expand Concrete Structures LLC Real Estate.
Hello, Mr. Carson.
Yes, good evening,
Hey,
Dennis
we gotta
Carson.
bring, one
I
second,
move
we
we
need to bring
hear
it to the table.
Resolution 2026-16.
I second.
Thank you very much. Okay, now we're ready
All
for
right,
you.
good evening, Dennis Carson, Economic Development Director. This is the confirmatory resolution for TechSpan Structures, and just to recap from last meeting, they're requesting a 7-year real estate abatement on a $2.65 million investment, again, in real property for, with their tenant Road Safety Services, which will create up to 40 new jobs. So happy to answer any questions. We have representatives here too as well, if you have questions for them.
Any questions for Mr. Carson? No comment? All right, seeing none, is there any audience questions towards this ordinance? Seeing none, we're ready for a roll call vote.
Blinker.
Aye.
Snyder.
Aye.
Nargi.
Aye.
Reynolds.
Aye.
Weiss.
Aye.
Brown.
Aye.
Downing.
Aye.
Resolution passes 7-0.
Thank you. We're now ready for resolution 2026-17.
A resolution of the Common Council of the City of Lafayette, Indiana, approving a declaratory resolution of the City of Lafayette Redevelopment Commission amending the Economic Development Plan for the Consolidated Creasy Central Economic Development Area to include new projects in the order of Tippecanoe County Area Plan Commission related thereto.
I move for consideration of Resolution 2026-17 on first and final reading.
Second.
Thank you. All right, Mr.
Yes.
Carson, we're
Yes,
ready.
Dennis Carson, Economic Development Director. We're excited about this resolution and the next one. We're going to be kicking off the renovation of the Lafayette Theater. So this first particular resolution, as part of the process for TIF support, we have to include it into our Creasy TIF consolidated plan. And we're also including a second project that we're going to be looking at supporting with TIF as well too, which is a 6-unit townhome project in Centennial neighborhood. So we do have our bond lawyers here, Dennis Otten from Bose McKinney, and our financial analyst from Baker Tilly here. I'm going to have them come up and give you some more details as well, and we'll be happy to answer any questions.
All right, thank you.
Good evening, Council. Dennis Otten with Bose McKinney and Evans. And as Dennis mentioned, it's an exciting project, and I'll talk a little bit about this resolution, 2026-17, but I think the meat of this will be in 2026-18, if that's okay with council. The 2026-17 just amends the plan for the consolidated Creasy TIF area to allow these projects to move forward. Under Indiana law, when you're using TIF funds, you have an economic development plan that needs to identify the projects to be funded. And every time we've done a project here, we've gone through the process of adding that to the plan, and it goes to Plan Commission, then to Council, and back to Redevelopment Commission for public hearing. So, as Dennis mentioned, the exciting theater project and the townhome project. are in 2026-17. I'll talk a little bit about 2026-18 here. This is the larger resolution. And I'll turn it over to Jason Simler with Baker Tilly here in a second to talk more about the numbers. But this is the resolution of the council that approves the financing for this project. This project, similar to the police department project that we did a number of years ago, is being financed through the city's redevelopment authority with the redevelopment commission. So the redevelopment authority will act as the issuer of the bonds. The bonds will be payable from lease rentals that the redevelopment commission will pay to the redevelopment authority that will match perfectly the debt service on the bonds. And you might ask, why are we talking about leases? Can't we just issue bonds? And the reason we do this is because of the debt limit that's in the Indiana Constitution. It's also statutory. Once we hit a certain threshold, which is 2% of net assessed value, we then have to switch over to a lease financing structure. Now, you don't have to do this for water or sewer bonds, things that are enterprise funds, but anytime we have a pledge of a property tax or a local income tax, that counts, and we get together with the good folks at Baker Tilly. They do the math, and they're like, thumbs up, thumbs down on whether we can do it. This is a rather large project, so we're using the lease financing. So that's why you'll see these lease agreements here, and I always tell folks the best comparison is it's like all the school buildings that our children are educated in. Almost all of them are owned by building corporations that are leased to school corporations. So there's nothing sham about it, nothing unusual about it. It's just the way the law is in Indiana. It's kind of the same way in a lot of other jurisdictions across the country. So lease financing is a commonly recognized mechanism. So we have two lease agreements here. One is with the redevelopment authority and the redevelopment commission. We're going to lease the theater to the redevelopment commission. They'll make the payments. And you'll see a second lease in here, which is we kind of call it a temporary site lease. These are some roads we've identified that we're going to temporarily lease from the city to the redevelopment authority that will be leased to the redevelopment commission. We do that for two reasons. Under Indiana law, redevelopment commission can't make a lease payment until it has a usable asset to support the payment. And so the theater is going to be getting rehabilitated, reconstructed. During that construction phase, if we don't have a leasable asset, we have to do what's called capitalized interest, where we borrow money to set aside to pay interest. It's just some extra cost on the city. We can do it, but to avoid it, we just put some roads under the lease temporarily. The rating agencies love to see that because they know there's a leasable asset, and if there's a delay in the construction of the project at all, maybe there's a storm, something like that, there's a backstop asset to keep the rentals going. And so we've worked with Dennis Carson and his team to identify some roads. They'll be in there temporarily. Once the theater's completed, that lease will go away. The roads will go back into the city's inventory. And in the meantime, the roads will continue to be used and maintained the same way they are. It's really just to put something in there as a placeholder. Very common. And if we didn't have it and went to the rating agencies, we'd immediately get they call it like abatement of risk type question. So that's why that's in there. As far as the resolution itself, it authorizes up to $24 million of bonds. And Jason's going to tell you we don't expect to borrow nearly that much, but it's just to cover all the eventual potential project costs. Maximum lease rental of, hang on, bear with me a second here, $3.5 million for a 14-year term, and that's because the TIF area is going to be dropping off. This is consolidated Creasy TIF. The lease payments will be on a parity with some outstanding debt, so you'll see that in there, and a not to exceed interest rate of 8%, and Jason will tell you we don't expect to get to that point. But before I turn it over to Jason, are there any questions of the council for me? Okay, and I will mention, this is going to go back to the redevelopment commission with a public hearing, and we've got that set up to be advertised, so that'll be later this month. We'll get through that process, and we'll have another notice to advertise, and we'll wait 30 days, and then we'll be kind of approved from an issuance standpoint.
Thank you, Dennis. Good evening, council. Jason Semler, Baker Tilly. Before the meeting, I handed out a report that we had prepared. I thought I would go through that to kind of go over the numbers with you to show you how we anticipate that to be paid. On page 2, call this the project cost and funding schedule. If you look at the top of the page, based upon cost estimates, we're looking at the total cost of the project to be a little over $19.4 million. Below that, you see a line item for capitalized interest. You see a 0 there, and the reason that is 0 is just as you just heard Dennis explain, we're able to put 0 there because we are leasing those existing roads. If we didn't exist those existing roads, we'd have to pay for that interest on the bonds during construction. So by going through this extra step, we don't have to pay for that cost. So that's why you see the 0 there. We do have an allowance for an underwriter's discount. We're still working with the city to see what's the best way to sell these bonds. Could sell them to a local bank. We could work with an underwriter who could negotiate with a local bank or sell it on the open market. We've done all types of bond sales with the city. We always look to see what's best at that moment in time. So we're looking at all options. But for now, we do have an allowance if we decide to go the negotiated route and hire an underwriter. And then we have a debt service reserve. Again, as we've talked about this before, sometimes bond purchasers, they want to make sure they're going to get paid. So sometimes they require us to set aside 1 year's payment into a separate account. That way, if for some reason the TIF comes in short, for whatever reason, they know there's money to make sure they get paid until the next year. If we go with a local bank, they may or may not require that or may not require a full year. But for preliminary purposes, we're putting in a full year's payment. That's about $1.7 million. And then allow for a cost of issuance contingencies, about $300,000. So you're looking at a total project with all the additional costs and securities of about $21,635,000. Kind of if you look at starting from the bottom of the schedule, how that's going to be funded. As you know, that the city was awarded a READY grant of $3 million. The city also does have $2 million of cash, and that's applying for the project, and which leaves about $16,635,000 that we're anticipating to bond for. And if, as Dennis said, in the documents before you, I think the not to exceed amount was around $24 million. And the reason why that number is so much higher than the $16 million that we're showing now is we started some of these approvals a few months ago. And at that time, we didn't know what the ready amount was going to be, if you're going to be awarded anything. We didn't know how much cash on hand. So we wanted to put in there a large enough amount that would cover in case we didn't have these other 2 revenue sources. Because what you're approving now is kind of a not to exceed amount. And if we were to go anything above that, we'd have to come back in front of you for approval again. So again, even though you're approving, $24 million, we're anticipating more like $16 million bond issue. And we are looking at these to be paid from the tax increment from the consolidated TIF area with the property tax backup. I know I've been in front of you many times. We've talked about the property tax backup. We'll show you here. We don't intend to use property taxes to pay for it. We'll show that there's sufficient TIF to cover the bond payments. But in order to make these bonds more marketable, let us get the lowest interest rate possible for you. Property tax backup is a much more stronger security. So we put that on there to get the lowest rate possible. Page 3, we are looking again in the bond parameters. It shows a 14-year bond. We are actually looking at doing a 12-year bond, and I'll show you here in a minute. That's based upon the life of the TIF areas. So you can see the $16.6 million amortized over about 12 years. Those are estimated interest rates that you see there, 3.4 to 4.6. Rates are increasing a little bit here lately, just with everything going on with the economy and the world, but those are still, I think, conservative rates right there. I think if we were to sell today, I think we'd get a little bit better than that. But if you look on the far right side, again, Dennis mentioned the maximum lease rental payment was about $3.5 million. You can see we're really looking at it's going to be closer to 1.7, 1.8 million. And again, the reason it was 3.5 was assuming that was based on a $24 million bond issue. And we're really thinking about doing 16 million. And then probably the most important schedule for you is the last page. This looks at the tax increment from the consolidated area. It's the second column. So this year, we're looking at collecting about $20.9 million in revenue. And you can see that's going to decrease a little bit just because we've expanded the TIF area over the years. And as those TIF areas are going to start to mature and end. So yes, TIF areas do end. Some people think that they don't, but they do. And that's why you see that TIF area, the revenue decreasing. That and also because of the new legislation with SCA 1. I'm sure you've talked about, as you're talking about budgets, how deductions and exemptions are increasing. That's going to decrease your tax base. It also decreases our TIF. So that's why you see the decrease there. But you can see that. And then off to the right, all the bonds that are outstanding that we've issued in the past. You can see the fourth column from right. There's the proposed 2026 bonds of roughly $1.7 million. And you can see the second column from the right. Even with those outstanding bonds in this issue, you can still see that we have over 240% coverage, which means you're bringing enough revenue to cover all your bonds almost 2.5 times. The other thing I would add, and I commend you on this, this revenue stream that we're showing, this is just all the development that's there now paying taxes. So this doesn't include any new development, anything that's under construction right now. So this is a very conservative estimate. So if you think about, I look back in last year, you collected $16.9 million in revenue in the same area. In 2020, it was 11.3. In 2015, it was only 7.5. So you can see how this area has really grown pretty significantly over a short period of time. So it just kind of shows how strong this revenue stream is and will probably continue to grow. So again, there's the property tax backup behind it. But as we've talked about in the past, we're showing that the TIF is more than enough to cover the bond payment. So I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have.
Any questions, comments from the council?
How difficult is it to sell bonds from this city? I mean, are we a good risk?
I wouldn't say you're a good risk. You're a good investment. That's the way I'd look at it.
I think that's what Perry meant. We're a good investor.
Yeah, no, you guys have.
People are looking to buy our bonds.
You have a lot of, and that's why I mentioned, we're looking at all options because you do have a lot of good community-minded local banks that have done a good job in the past and stepped up and have bought a number of your bonds. So we look at that. But in the open market, you guys have a very good credit rating. So if we did have to go outside the city and even outside the state, we usually don't have a problem selling the city of Lafayette bonds at a good interest rate.
Any other questions or comments? Any comments from the audience? Seeing none, we're ready for a roll call vote.
Blinker.
Aye.
Snyder.
Aye.
Nargi. Aye. Reynolds.
Aye.
Weiss.
Aye.
Brown.
Aye.
Downing.
Aye.
Resolution passes 7-0.
Thank you. We're now ready for Resolution 2026-18.
A resolution of the City of Lafayette, Indiana, approving and authorizing the execution of lease agreements relating to the renovation, equipping, and improving of the Lafayette Theater and approving certain other matters related thereto.
Motion to approve resolution number 2026-18.
Thank
Second.
you. Thank you.
Second.
All right, Mr. Mayor? Oh,
Nope,
you're
this is
doing
where
it?
we could just say ditto to
Okay,
everything that we
all
just
right,
said,
all
so. Ditto.
Is that a proper governmental term?
Yeah.
We need to do a roll call on that.
Yeah, we do need another roll call.
Yeah. Is there any comments from the council? Any comments from the audience? Okay, we're ready for a roll call vote.
Blinker.
Aye.
Snyder.
Aye.
Nargi.
Aye.
Reynolds.
Aye.
Weiss.
Aye.
Brown.
Aye.
Downing.
Aye.
Resolution passes 7-0.
All right, very good. Now we're ready for Resolution 2026-19.
A resolution approving a deduction for tax abatement in an economic revitalization area real estate, Ray Magnet Wire Company Incorporated.
I moved to hear resolution 2026-19.
Second.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Carson?
Yes, Dennis Carson, Economic Development Director. Excited about a local company here making another investment into our community, Ray Magnet Wire. They are requesting a 7-year real estate abatement on a 30,000 square foot facility, a $4 million investment. And this has been also vetted and approved for recommendation from our redevelopment commission. And we have Chris Billingsley here, the president and CEO of Ray Magnet Wire, who will tell you some more details, and we'll be happy to answer any questions.
All right, thank you.
Good evening, council. My name is Chris Billingsley. I'm the president and CEO of Ray Magnet Wire. Ray Magnet Wire operates 5 locations where we manufacture insulated copper and aluminum wire products used in appliance motors, industrial motors, power generators, and power transmission cables. In addition, our products are found in large power and distribution transformers that step power up and down throughout the energy grid. Our fastest growing end market currently is supplying wire for electric vehicle motors. Ray Magnet Wire has sustained a presence in Lafayette for more than 65 years. In 2024, we completed construction of our EV expansion facility here, and we began operations within that facility in 2025. That facility continues to come online today, and with each new EV motor program launched by the automotive industry, we are increasing our process capability and customer bandwidth. As the new facility ramps up, we need additional space to warehouse our buffer inventory that protects our customer supply chains, and that's the reason for tonight's request. We are breaking ground now on a 30,000 square foot EV warehouse expansion project here in Lafayette. Ray Magnet Wire values our long-term relationship with the city of Lafayette, and we intend to continue our growth here. Our long-term strategy includes adding further production facilities and expanding our corporate footprint in this community. We appreciate your consideration of our request for property tax abatement tonight, as it supports our ongoing growth objectives here in Lafayette. Thank you, and I will take any questions.
And
Yeah, so I see there's no jobs, but this will make you more competitive, keep your business strong, and then give you the ability to maybe grow someday. There's just no jobs promised at the time.
That is correct.
Yeah.
So the bulk of the jobs will come with our EV expansion that we completed 2 years ago.
Sure.
We've added roughly 70 to 80 of those jobs today, and we continue to grow in that capacity. You know, we will add a few warehouse forklift driver jobs, but we felt it not sufficient enough to add to the request tonight.
Gotcha. Thank you.
A quick question. Is that a cold storage facility, or is that going to be heated and air conditioned?
It'll be minimally heated,
Minimal,
just,
okay.
45 degrees in the winter. Yeah.
Thank you.
any other questions or comments? Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions or concerns from the audience? Seeing none, we're ready for a roll call vote.
Blinker.
Aye.
Snyder.
Aye.
Nargi.
Aye.
Reynolds.
Aye.
Weiss.
Aye.
Brown.
Aye.
County.
Aye.
Resolution passes 7-0.
Very good. Any miscellaneous and new business this evening? No? Reports of standing committees? Reports of special committees? Mr. Mayor?
No, ma'am.
Nothing? All right. Reports of councilmen? Okay, so we're ready for our public comment. We welcome public comment and encourage active participation at this meeting to allow the council to proceed efficiently. Public comment will occur in two parts in the meeting. First, there will be an opportunity for public comment on ordinances and resolutions currently before the council. These comments should be limited to 3 minutes and be germane to the item under consideration. At the end of the meeting, time will be reserved for public comment on any issue or concern. Please keep your comments concise and within the 3-minute time limit. Public comment is an opportunity to address the council on matters of public concern. Speakers must remain within the allotted time and conduct themselves in a manner that allows the meeting to proceed in an orderly way. Any participant who, after receiving 3 warnings, continues conduct that disrupts the meeting or interferes with the council's ability to proceed may be asked to leave. Any form of physical or verbal threats, intimidation, or violence will result in immediate removal. This is your opportunity to contribute to the community and assist the council in addressing issues that are important to the city of Lafayette. All right, is there any public comment this evening? All right.
No.
Seeing none?
Move for adjournment.
Second?
Second.
Oh, wait, we do have one, sorry.
I'm sorry, I thought you were asking for public comments regarding ordinances presented tonight.
Oh, yeah, no,
Public
yeah.
comments in general. I do have a general public comment. My name's Kenny, I live on 19th Street. couple blocks away. I've been here a couple times already. I'm here once again to express my concerns regarding the city's contract with Flock Safety. As more comes out about the company's conduct, their cybersecurity failures, their abuse cases using their system, public sentiment toward the mass surveillance network is largely negative. They have over 50 security vulnerabilities cataloged by credible independent cybersecurity researchers, many of which are low-skill methods of attack that allow attackers to have access to large sensitive parts of the Flock OS and LPR network, up to and including like officer patrol routes, PII, the users registered in the system, the people actually using this, as well as the plate readout information collected by the system. Live camera footage, historic camera footage, they can alter, they can delete, they can save that footage through these leaks. The efficacy rates presented by Flock Safety are largely misleading. They claim they can read at a 90% accuracy, 96% accuracy. Oak Park, Illinois is finding that over 30% of the stops from Flock alerts are mistakes due to data errors. And in Rosemont, California, they've reported Flock misreads upwards of 70% of the reports it sends to their police department. Reports of abuse from LPR systems due to unofficial purposes is on the rise. At least 28 cases of stalking since 2021 reported by the Institute of Justice, often caught by victims after the fact and not from internal policies. Dozens of cases of wrongful stops from license plate errors, like the wrong license plate for a stolen vehicle is tagged onto an innocent person, leading to a high-risk stop. Oftentimes, in those cases, the police are reported to have done everything correct according to their policy, and still innocent people are being held at gunpoint, being detained for a crime they were never around for, never committed. So I have to ask the council, the system doesn't seem to be wanted by the citizens that it's watching. It puts the police at risk when they use it in terms of bad actors could be watching the patrol routes and knowing where they're at, or they could be at risk from those wrongful stops. And as the level of surveillance expands through just software updates and more hardware pushed out, so much so that it's raising questions on our constitutional rights violations. Why do we have to have this contract? Why are we allowing the system to be tested on us before the policy and regulation on this technology can catch up? And I acknowledge that it's a powerful tool for the police. It can be a capable system, but these internal policies that the police departments have, they're not enough to regulate a private for-profit company not subject to FOIA requests.
All right, thank you. Your time is up this evening.
Okay.
Thank you for your comment.
Thank you for your service to this community.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I want to make a couple comments.
Sure.
Mayor, I think there may be some other public comment.
No, go ahead, that's fine. I'll let you guys go.
I would also, Susan Schechter, 1001 Ferry Street. I'd also like to speak to the surveillance data collection. My federal tax dollars support the Department of Justice prosecutors who are issuing politically motivated or harassing subpoenas and pushing unsupportable indictments past citizen grand juries. Investigations by the Electronic Frontier Foundation revealed that dozens of law enforcement agencies used Flock Safety automated license plate reader networks to track and monitor political demonstrations, specifically including No Kings protesters. The Trump administration has supercharged the use of domestic terrorism investigations to threaten Americans using their First Amendment rights to oppose its policies. Are my city tax dollars paying to collect and share my personal location data? Data that might be abused to falsely identify me as a domestic terrorist because I resist authoritarian seizure of our democracy. Who stores our community data location? How long is it stored? Who has warrantless access to the data? I ask that the city hold an information session that reviews the flock contract and data usage. There is a lot of concern. There's a petition currently being passed around, and for you to ignore it and not respond to our concerns, I assume the mayor's going to get up and apologize for the abrogation of our civil liberties. But I think we need more than that. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. All right. Any other comment?
I would also like to,
Okay, please come forward and state your name and address.
thank you, because this is my first time. And I would also like, my name is Quinnell Gutwine. I live at 718 Owen Street, Lafayette, Indiana.
Thank you.
And I also would like to address the flock cameras that are being used in my community. And I'm concerned because I've been traveling and learned about the flock just from people talking about them in other communities. I was just to Philadelphia, and in New Jersey and Philadelphia, I went to a picnic and they were talking about the resistance to the use of surveillance on citizens, that we have no idea where our data is being kept or how it's being used. And I have to start with the fact that in 2024, I read about a book that was titled The Means of Control: How the Hidden Alliance of Tech and Government is Creating a New American Surveillance State. This book was written by an investigative and enterprise journalist, Byron Taw, who specializes in the law, the courts systems, and national security. And Byron's book recounts how the U.S. government exploits massive loopholes in surveillance law and how it is used to purchase from vast digital bazaars the intimate personal data that Americans unwittingly spew from their phones, cars, and computers. We don't even know the kind of information that we are being surveilled, that people know about my personal, it seems like 1984. I'm sure we all remember how Big Brother can dominate our lives. With this advanced AI that we're now having trouble with, I mean, it just came out last week that the bots had gone rogue and had broken into other big companies. The Sam Altman's OpenAI was not even aware that the bot had gone rogue and was finding out all kind of information from other companies. And there were 4 different companies that found out. They had to go through the Chinese government to find out how these bots were capable of. Have you read about that?
No, but your time is up.
Okay.
this evening. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Any other public comment? All right. Mr. Mayor, did you have something to say?
Yeah, I want to just go over some of the information a little bit. And first of all, I want to thank the citizens that came tonight to express their concerns. We certainly appreciate public input into whatever we're doing here in the community. But I do think there is a lot of misinformation out there also. And so I just wanted to go over some of the information that we have here, and we can continue those discussions with citizens privately if they want to set up a meeting or so to fully understand the system. So, we do have flock cameras here in the city of Lafayette. They have them in the city of West Lafayette, Purdue University, Tippecanoe County. They are a system that our law enforcement partners use in our community. But as you look at them, I honestly do believe they're one of the least invasive ways that we do gather information. The lady who's just there is absolutely correct. The phones we all hold in our hand gather 100,000 times the amount of information every time we use it than the flock camera systems incorporate. So they are license plate readers. That is correct. They record the vehicle make and model and the vehicle color, the date and time of the camera scan, and the camera location. I think it's important for people to know, and maybe some folks do know, and I understand there could still be concern, but I want the council and the majority of the citizens in the community that are looking in this to understand that that is all they take. We do not identify the drivers or passengers. We do not record conversations. We do not provide, they do not provide continuous GPS tracking. They do not track you like your phone. Your phone does provide that, right? It tracks you wherever you go. I went to a movie for the first time in a long time Saturday night, and already on my phone today, movie pop-ups, theater pop-ups. I mean, they know where you go. But we do not do that. They only know if you travel between a camera location, and they don't know where you go in between that, who's actually driving the vehicle. And we do not automatically issue traffic citations or warrants or anything off just that camera data. It's a piece of an investigation that is used. There are flock cameras too that are not connected to the overall flock network. I think that's important for people to know. They're just standalone cameras. There's one down at Lafayette Transitional Housing, and there's one at Hedgewood Park.
Yeah, which we appreciate.
And so they're not connected to any system. Not every flock camera is actually connected to an overall system. So I think that's important for people to know. You know, we use this for stolen vehicle investigation, missing persons, missing adults, missing children, hit and run, violent crime, property crime investigations, and identifying vehicles that are associated with criminal activity. Flock gets the information, the license plate. They do not run the license plate that brings up the information. If that needs to be run because it's part of a criminal investigation, that is only done by the Lafayette Police Department, the dispatchers, the people that are certified to be in IDACs and have the Aegis certifications to gather that information, just like if you get pulled over for speeding and they run the license plate. It's like that. That company and that camera does not automatically somehow run that license plate and come up with the registered owner's name. And I think that's important for people to know. That's done here locally at the Lafayette Police Department by the people that are over there every day working to keep this community safe. So the information is kept for 30 days. It's encrypted. And then if we don't need it, if we don't put through an order to keep it, that information, those plate information is deleted. And so it's not something that's kept forever, and we don't want it kept forever. If it's not something that we need that's going to help keep the community safe, we don't want that either, right? That's not something that we are looking for. Again, I really want to stress this. It is not continuous GPS tracking. It's not following the car. And there's hundreds, thousands of intersections in the community. And there's not a camera at every intersection by a long shot. So I think that's important to know. Search activity is logged and subject to audit. Even when our people go in to do things, they got to put in certain codes so it keeps an audit trail so we know. And if you don't put in the code and it lines up, you can't get in what people are doing. Only law enforcement has that access. And I think that that's important to know that that sensitive stuff is handled here locally and through IDACS, through the state of Indiana, just like we do all our investigations, and if people get pulled over for a traffic citation or something like that. We did have our IT department review the flock security procedures with public information that was available to us. They appeared to them that they were following all the standards to safeguard that data. We all know that you've always heard that there are hackers that hack everything from banks to your doctors to your, everything can get hacked, but we believe that they're doing the best they can using the latest technology to keep that data safe, that they are keeping for that 30-day window, because that is important for us too. I mean, we don't want to do any more than absolutely necessary just to solve that crime or find that missing child or find that missing adult. I mean, we want the bare minimum to be able to supplement that police work to be able to solve those crimes in our community. And so we will continue to monitor it. We'll continue to watch. We'll continue to make sure that we're doing the things that are appropriate. Like I said, it doesn't take a picture of your face. There's no biometrics involved. I know somebody had brought up a red light camera, or, well, one, you can't have red light cameras in Indiana. They're not legal. You can't do that. But where you do go into states that do it and through toll booths, they do take a picture of the driver and the license plate. These do not do that, and I think that's important to know that that is a distinction, and we own all the data, right? We own all the data. And so I'm sure that won't make everybody totally comfortable with the situation, but I did want to get up and talk about it and give, you know, the background to everybody, and that the city is aware of it. We are aware that some people are uncomfortable. We're being judicious in how the police department uses it and handles it, and staying abreast of changing technologies and things that would be concerned. But it has been, there is no doubt, it has been very useful in us solving significant number of crimes in our community. And I know there's been some comments that, well, you can't prove that flock helps prevent crime. And there's some truth to that, right? I doubt that somebody's driving around thinking, I'm not going to commit a crime because there's flock cameras in the community. But what it does help us do is solve the crimes that get committed, which in turn does reduce crime in your community, because if that person is convicted by a jury of their peers and they are no longer in the community for a certain period of time, because all the statistics will show that a small number of people commit the vast majority of all crime in a community, it does help reduce crime. And I think just as importantly, a victim of a crime deserves justice. They deserve to know somebody that hurt them is brought to justice. And I think that is an important aspect too. They have a right for us to have the tools to try to solve the crime that their family or somebody them has been a victim of. I can assure you, I know there's a lot going on in the world right now, but I can assure you the city of Lafayette and the Lafayette Police Department has no desire to be involved with mass surveillance in any way. We're trying to do this to keep our community safe, to make it a great place to live, work, and raise your family. So thank you.
Thank you. All right. Is there any other public comment this evening? All right, seeing none.
Move for adjournment.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign.